Hello, welcome to Clockwise. My name is Providence Essien. Clockwise is a podcast sponsored by Netisen ICT. Yes, the biggest ICT hub in Akwa Ibom State. This podcast focuses on the tech world, its advantages, the various in-demand skills that can give you a tech advantage to earn in dollar and to spend in naira. So for today, we'll be discussing another interesting aspect of the tech world, the new world, if you like to call it that way. And I have a mind-blowing guest as usual as my studio guest, and you'll meet him after this break. Thank you. Welcome back. As I said earlier, my guest is a cybersecurity expert, though working on a very interesting aspect of the tech world, the artificial intelligence. I think he's an expert with results and with evidence. You've met him before and you're going to meet him again. Please give a virtual round of applause for Mr. Yenepone Kandem. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Welcome again.
Thank you for having me.
You know, the first time I had you in this studio, you came as a cybersecurity expert.
Okay.
And then because of the job you're doing now, the project you're on, which is on AI, I said, let me bring you back. Let's come and hear from you what AI is all about. So without actually wasting time, let's go straight to business. What is actually AI? Artificial intelligence.
Okay, so artificial intelligence, thank you very much once again. Artificial intelligence is the ability of computers or computer control systems to do or to carry on tasks that are usually associated with human intelligence.
Okay.
So for example, a very clear example would be what we see, ChatGPT, that can write essays, that can do things that mimic human interaction. That is what we mean by artificial intelligence. So the ability for machines, the ability for computers to do that is actually what we call artificial intelligence.
Okay, now let's see how we can make this thing very relatable. Now, let's define human intelligence, since it does not really have a holistic definition. Let's define human intelligence to be the ability to think.
Okay, yes.
Ability to reason.
Yes.
Ability to solve problems.
Yes.
Let's define intelligence to be those things.
Okay.
So what you're trying to say is computers, digital computers, performing these characteristics of humans.
Yes.
Is what artificial intelligence is all about.
So if I'm to pick some of the things you've mentioned, for example, I'm happy that you talked about the ability to reason. That's one of the things that language models or AI could do. Ability to solve problems. We have, when we talk about AI, it's actually like a compound word. So we have machine learning, which is a subset of AI.
No, before you proceed further, what's the difference between machine learning and artificial intelligence?
So machine learning is actually
because they are sounding the same.
Yes,
okay,
it's a subset of artificial intelligence.
Okay.
Yes. So we have artificial intelligence. Then you have under it, you have machine learning. Under machine learning, you now have deep learning.
Well, does it mean that machine learning can lead to artificial intelligence?
Machine learning is an integral part of artificial intelligence.
Okay.
For example, the ability for machines or computers to learn human language is called natural language processing.
Okay.
The ability for it to learn and then work based on the data set it's been trained on is actually that machine learning component of it.
Okay.
Yes. So machine learning is an integral part. Then under that machine learning, we have deep learning. Deep learning uses what we call neural networks. It actually works like the human brain.
Okay.
So it uses neural networks to solve problems. Like you mentioned, when you started, talked about solving problems. So it's actually the deep learning part of machine learning that actually does that. It has neural networks. And then we now have generative AI. That's what a lot of people know because of ChatGPT, which is a generative AI.
Okay.
But that generative AI has a lot of things, including transformers, that allow the language model to process human language.
So what you're trying to say is that AI is actually a language.
AI is actually an ability.
It's an ability.
It's an
I want
ability,
us to get this very clearly, because most people think when they hear AI, they feel it's a robot.
No.
Do you understand?
Okay.
You get me? They feel it's a robot. Okay, they feel it's a new system. Do you understand? What is actually this? I want in a relatable way, because I was actually doing a search one day and I now realized that AI has been here for a very long time.
Yes.
Yeah, it has progressed in different levels. Because if you go to, let's say, a place you've not gone to before, let's say somebody like me, I've not gone to Borno State before, and I entered the state, for instance, and I want to walk around and I use a Google map. That is an AI, isn't it not? Okay,
so yes, it has some AI components. Let me give you a very clear example of AI that people don't take note of. If you go on YouTube and you watch videos, over time, when you go on YouTube, the YouTube algorithm will bring up videos that it believes that you watch. Yes. So it has actually looked at, it's called pattern recognition. It's an integral part of what AI does. It recognizes a pattern. So let's say you've been watching animal videos of wildlife videos. Once you pop open your YouTube app, the algorithm will present you with wildlife videos, because it believes that is what, based on what it has learned, the pattern it has learned. It believes that is what you're most likely going to focus on. So that is a basic example of AI. Another example is even when you do a Google search. If you do a Google search, the ability for Google to pop up things that are relevant to what you've been searching is actually an element of AI. But the one that people know of is OpenAI's ChatGPT. That is the one that has actually made people say, wow, so AI could be like this. Because ChatGPT is now making things that were usually as exclusive to humans to be possible. For example, writing an essay. If you tell ChatGPT to write a 500-word essay, that was something that only a human could do. But now a language model could do it. So there are lots of other things that AI could do that people don't think about. Even the robot taxis, like in the US, for example, we have Tesla is actually trying, kind of launching robot taxis. Robot taxis are completely self-driving cars. That's artificial intelligence, to be able to take decisions on where to turn, on how to avoid collision and all those things.
You're working for a corporate organization.
Yes.
A business organization, actually.
Yes.
What is the effect of AI on businesses?
Efficiency at the highest level. Organizations
more accurate than humans.
Very accurate. The last time I was on the podcast, I talked about my cybersecurity, and I told you about the fact that we use AI to kind of recognize threat patterns. Patterns, kind of fingerprints from threat actors. Now, AI can actually do that more accurately, because if you are giving that job to a human to do, it can miss out a few things. But once you have told the AI, you have trained the AI.
Say that again. If you give that job to humans,
the reality, I'm being very brutally honest here, it can miss out a few things.
So does it mean that now you prefer to use artificial intelligence on certain roles?
Yes, definitely. Like a role of a security analyst.
That you actually believe that AI will actually take up some jobs.
So the point there is that I know it's not a thing I believe. I know that AI will take over some jobs, but I think the most important thing is that instead of us fretting about the fact that AI will take jobs, we should be thinking about how to learn how to acquire new skills, to learn how to prompt the AI, to interact with the AI to do those things. For example, if I'm a security analyst and my job is to monitor security logs and escalate incidents of interest, rather than getting stuck on that, which is a repetitive job if you look at it, rather, why don't I learn how to, prompt a language model or prompt an AI model to do that job and do it more efficiently than I would do? That will increase efficiency. It will increase productivity, because, for example, an AI cannot call in sick, for instance. An AI cannot would work literally 24 hours. A human can't do that. So there are a lot of things, if you look at it, that an AI can bring. There are a lot of factors
Would
that
there be
AI
an
can
end
increase.
to upskilling? Would
Definitely
there be an
not.
end? Because
No.
every time you want to surpass the AI, do you understand? You want to go further. You want to go
Okay,
higher.
so AI at the current state,
Because we've
AI
heard of
cannot.
AI
AI
cannot. We heard
cannot.
of 1, we heard of 2, we heard of 3, we heard of 4, and we heard that 5 is coming out.
So here is the deal. And the reality is that AI at this point cannot really think. Let me use the word think for itself.
Okay.
Everything an AI does is a response to a prompt. For example, if you look at ChatGPT cannot just spit out something. You need to prompt. And by the way, that's prompt engineering, which is something that people should even be thinking of going into. If you are a developer, the reality is that your job is actually going to be taken over. Especially if you're a junior developer, your job might be taken over fairly soon. So what you might be looking at is learning how to prompt a language model to do what? To actually write. There are certain codes. For example, I spoke to someone. I said, Facebook Meta has launched a language model called Code Llama. Code Llama is so smart that all you need to do is just to give the comments. It will write the code that goes with that. So,
okay.
So you can see the way we are going, the pace at which we are going. As someone who is a developer, whether you're front end or back end or a full stack developer, you should be thinking about learning how to prompt a language model to write these codes for you. GPT-4 can do a lot of coding. Llama can do a lot of coding. Even GitHub Copilot can do a lot of these things. So you would want to upskill yourself to see how you can learn to become a better prompt engineer, prompting the language model, something that would take you, for example, like days to code. A language model can do that in a matter of minutes. So why do you have to do it? It's like it does the heavy lifting for you. So your job as a developer could be like checking out whether there are errors in the code. Do you understand? So it simplifies your job. So I think that developers or people in general, tech people in general, should not try to resist AI. They should be thinking about how they can leverage AI.
What you're trying to say
to do better.
What you're trying to say is that AI will not actually take your job, but anybody that can use AI will take your job.
That's okay. I think that's a better argument. So AI will not take your job, but the person that knows how to use that leverages AI will take your job.
That's wonderful. So what is the effect? I want to know the effect of AI on education.
Okay.
Do you understand? What's the effect of AI on education? Because you've talked about ChatGPT and what it can do, writing of essays. Won't it produce more lazy students?
No, it won't produce more lazy students. Let me give you an example. Remember the age where we had farmers and tractors were introduced. People were shouting, "Oh, it will take away our jobs. It will take away our jobs." But the farmers that were smart enough to know how to operate tractors were the guys that were making a killing.
Yes.
Do you understand? So the fact is that I want you to understand that education has gone beyond learning how to memorize things and regurgitate them during exams. Education is understanding how to use tools to get what you want. That's education for me. So if you like, sit down here for 1 week straight to write a code that would do so much, and then someone else prompts a language model and does that in 30 minutes. The fact is that I would go for the guy that is doing it in 30
nobody
minutes.
Even asks you how long
because
it took.
remember what Steve Jobs said. He said, "I like to employ a lazy person than a hardworking person." You know why? Because a lazy person will look for thank you very much. Will look for a smarter way of doing something. So so that is just the reality. Productivity. Nobody pays for effort
or time.
People pay for
productivity.
For results. So leveraging AI even in education to improve learning is something that we should do. We should not say, "Oh, people will fail, people will not be able to memorize things anymore." Who actually, okay, for example, these days that we have Google, who actually thinks about if I ask you a question now, the next thing is for you to pick up your phone and do what and Google it. Nobody will say, "Oh, you got it from Google." No. So the important thing is understanding how to use tools to do what you are given, the task you are given, and provide the result that is desired.
Okay, now in 1 minute, tell me, what are the benefits of AI in general?
Number one, efficiency. Number one, time saving. Number three, cost effective, because for example, what you need like 10 people to do, you can do that with maybe just one person or two. Then the other thing is accuracy. For example, I told you, if you want to give a task for people to do, they could make a few mistakes. Maybe someone could be drowsy and he made a few mistakes, but the AI, as far as it is properly tuned, will give you the result that you. I know there is something called a hallucination, but we'll talk about that later.
It was intentional. I asked this question intentional. When we are back from this break, there's another level we are going to enter. Do you get me? So when we are back, thank you very much. Welcome back. We are still on Clockwise, produced by Netisens ICT, and my guest is still around, a cybersecurity expert that is actually working on a project on AI, and we are still on that conversation. Welcome back.
Yeah.
You spoke about the importance of AI before we went on that short break, and we're told that anything that has advantages have disadvantages, and you will not tell me that AI does not have disadvantages. So I want you to tell me only 3 things that are disadvantages. The 3 disadvantages of AI.
Okay.
Just 3.
So I want to start from the ethical point of view.
Okay.
For example, using ChatGPT, which is privacy, IP, intellectual property too. You can literally prompt ChatGPT and it will pull a lot of things because it's been trained on a wide data set that includes some intellectually protected item, that is IP protected as intellectual property protected items. It will pull it up. So the fact is that it has actually compromised that protection. So for example, something that you're not supposed to see, or maybe you're supposed to pay to be able to gain access to, you are not able to access because the language model has been trained on that, and so you can actually spit it out. So privacy is one thing. Intellectual property rights protection is another thing. Then the other thing there is the fact that it actually allows the bad actors. It gives them leverage. As much as it gives good actors leverage, it also gives the bad actors leverage. I spoke with you before we got on set. I spoke with you about, even as a security analyst, security professional. I want to let you know that the challenge for security professionals has been multiplied because of artificial intelligence. Because something that used to do, it take a bad actor, a malicious actor, let's say 3 days to break into a system. With the aid of AI, he can actually do that in less than 30 minutes or 1 hour. So you now find that it's a leverage, it's like a two-edged sword. So it's a leverage to both the good guys and the bad guys. So to the extent that it allows the bad actors to be able to work, work faster or, kind of gain advantage faster. That means that's a downside.
Okay. Now we know that there are levels to this AI discovery innovations. Somebody was talking about there is what called weak AI, the AI that can actually perform a single task.
Okay.
A single task. We now have a strong AI that can actually match with the intelligence of humans. They will now move to the super AI, which is an AI that they are planning is AI of the future, which which has the capacity to dominate the intelligence of humans. And one question I want to ask is, in the bid of man trying to conquer its environment, would you result to a point whereby we now realize that the environment was no longer in our control? Will you get to a point whereby we are going to have things like man trying to, in the industrial age, trying to conquer the environment, and he has gotten to different form of hazard, like climate change? We just left what they call the COVID. Do you understand? Would there be a situation whereby tomorrow man will now look back and regret for actually coming up with anything called AI?
Okay, investing so much in AI. So the fact is that there is an AI scale, that people talk about. Elon Musk even mentioned it. He said we should slow down on AI innovation because it's actually, there's a likelihood that it could actually take over, make us to be second-class citizens. The reality is that, like I mentioned when we started, I said the current version of artificial intelligence is actually dumb. Because if it actually needs humans to prompt it, then it's dumb.
No, hold on. If something is dumb, just like you giving birth to a child. When you give birth to a child, you're giving birth to just a plain human being. Let's say, for instance,
yes,
a plain human being. Now, you teach that child how to stand. You've not formed the brain. You've not formed a brain on that child. What you've done is that you form a strand of neurons, right? He knows that he can stand. You teach him how to drink water. Is that not so? You form another strand of neurons, you know that he can drink water. Do you get me? Over the years, you've taught him different things to now form different strands of neurons on the person. So as that child grows up, the child has a tendency of either surpassing you as an intelligent, as the parent. Okay. Do you get me? So my question is that in this era whereby you have differentiated between power and responsibilities, whereby you see, for instance, content creators, okay, let's say influencers. Do you understand? You see persons that are using the opportunity to spill evil, cause depression to people. You're talking about a 14 or 15-year-old boy that is somewhere coding, trying to do something to change the world without even being responsible for himself. Don't you see a situation whereby this thing will get out of hand?
Here is the deal. You know why people are thinking in that direction? Because a human has access to, a sizable amount of information in their life, in their entire life. And then you have a system that has access to billions and billions. In fact, a ton of information, tons and tons of information around, that's been trained on. And so it's possible that if you are going to be able to, if you act based on the information that you have, that the language model or the AI model could actually overtake humans based on the information, the vast amount of information it has. Which is why AI regulation comes in. The reality is that a lot of things are possible. Some of the things that we are seeing here, we used to see it in science fiction. For example, what you have ChatGPT do now is something that we used to see in science fiction, and it's happening now. So that is where AI regulation comes in. But for me, I would say that even when you talk about AI regulation, you should not make it so tight, because the reality is that if you tighten regulation for the good guys that are doing AI, what happens to the bad guys that you are not able to reach? Another thing people are also talking about is some countries that are kind of trying to foment trouble, some agents. If they have access to, currently, even in the security space, in cybersecurity, countries are actually sponsoring, attacks on different other countries. Yes. So in this, that's on the cyber war. So they could literally take on this cyber war to a whole different level using artificial intelligence. It is a possibility. Okay. But I think what we should be thinking about is how do we bring in regulation to ensure that there are caps to people's excesses regarding AI.
Do you believe government should actually come into this thing? Do you accept that fact?
No, the reality
That
is
government should come as a regulator.
everything, almost everything, even in the field of security, the field of engineering, there are some level of controls. Yes, there are some level of controls.
Because I feel
so.
this
I'm also thinking that AI also needs some form of regulation. But my point is, we should not over-regulate the AI so that we don't give an upper hand to the bad guys. Because the bad guys have, for instance, have access to these tools. Some of the things, for example, when ChatGPT came out, it was like the only thing. Everybody was shouting, OpenAI's valuation is currently over $90 billion because of it was so revolutionary. But now you see a lot of other companies, you have even Microsoft is doing their own internal AI, Amazon is doing, Google is doing, a lot of companies, Meta is doing, a lot of companies are now doing AI because now have access to, after all, it's what ChatGPT works on transformers.
People are no longer interested in humanity any longer. They just want to make money. They want to make name. They want to make big businesses.
I think
so that's the fear.
No. So the point there is
not
that
be game over one day.
The point there is that it's not about people devaluing humanity, but it's about businesses trying to, number one,
compete among themselves.
Yes, and
at
bring
the detriment
in
of humanity.
Well, do you say
at the detriment of humanity?
No, here is the deal. You cannot establish that for now. Like I told you,
but we'll see
the
what
current level of let's be clear on this. The current state of cybersecurity is such that the current state of AI is such that it cannot think for itself. So for now you cannot firmly establish the fact that AI is coming against humanity. You cannot establish that. But what I'm saying is that the speculations, you should not trivialize the speculation that could happen. And if you want to be kind of proactive, then you have to think about how you can come up with regulations that will restrict this very extreme innovation in cyber in AI, in artificial intelligence. But don't do it in a way that it will now stifle innovation among the good guys, among the people that are doing the good job, and give an upper hand to the people that are leveraging AI to perpetrate evil. So that's the point here. So it's a regulatory play here. Yeah. So you cannot say, you can't really establish the fact that AI is coming for humanity. As it is going to get to a point, you cannot establish that. But it is a speculation, it's a scare that is, you can't literally sweep under the carpet. So that's just the reality that it is that exists here in cyber in AI.
What you see, I actually understood what you're saying, and I share in the fears of some persons that have actually expressed themselves about AI. You see, you said AI cannot think for itself. And we tend to doubt. Then how does ChatGPT work?
So good.
By giving him command or giving the model a command, and it will, how you say,
okay,
what is you thinking for yourself?
So maybe I should have explained how language models work. So language models are actually, a lot of them are built on transformers. It's actually, these models actually mimic patterns in human language
over time.
Yes.
Okay.
So they are trained on a huge data set. We have foundation models like ChatGPT is a foundation model. Then you can now, from that foundation model, you can now create what we call fine-tune them to a reasonably sized model that is for a particular task. For example, a customer service agent.
Okay.
Yes. So everything, language models need to be prompted before they can act.
Now, to fine-tune them based on what you want them to do, right?
Yes.
Now, we are taking, for instance, now, China wants to destroy Nigeria. And they will program this AI model to a language that will say, okay, we want to destroy this country, called Nigeria. So how do you see, don't you see a future where people will start using this thing based on their own model to cause hazard, to destroy humanity?
The reality is that even in computer, there is there are attacks. I talked about cyber war, cyber security attacks. the same thing happens with AI. AI literally like gives a leverage to all of that. So the point there is that it is a reality. It's not just AI. In every field of human development, people will always leverage it for what? For negative uses. So the fact there is that is not enough reasons for you to say, oh, AI is coming to kill us all. No. AI can be used for positive application as well as negative application. That is where I talked about regulation. Regulation will ensure that guardrails are provided so that you don't leverage AI to do something. For example, even ChatGPT now, if you tell ChatGPT, when ChatGPT came out in November of last year, I think December, I literally asked ChatGPT how I can break into a network. I into a network and steal confidential information. And ChatGPT gave me step-by-step instruction on how to do that.
Okay.
But if you do that, if you try to prompt ChatGPT, give that kind of prompt today, ChatGPT will tell you that you can't do it. So that means that there is some guardrails that are being provided. And we're looking at the fact that if that can be done for all other innovation, AI innovations, then it will make AI better for all of us.
Okay, now your final words, because I believe we should continue this conversation again. Do you understand?
Okay.
And we're going to take this point by points and innovation by innovation so that we'll know really what we are doing. So your final words before we go.
My final word is that I would say to everybody watching, we should not try to resist AI. We should try to leverage AI, whether you are a developer, whether you are a customer service agent, whatever you are doing, think about how you can leverage AI to do the job better, to do the job more efficiently, to do the job more cost effectively, to do the job more accurately. That is what will actually give you the leverage. And the fact is that, like you mentioned, AI will not take your job. But whoever knows how to leverage AI would take your job.
Thank
So
you very much.
we need to be.
On that note, we'll come to the end of today's episode and see you again on Tuesday. But before then, do not forget that the illiterate of the 21st century are not those who did not go to school or those who will not go to school, but they are those who have refused to evolve as their environment is evolving. My name is Providence Essien. See you next week.